If you have diabetes, you need to monitor your carbohydrate intake. Every food has different carbohydrate content and this varies from food to food. So to monitor the effect of carbohydrate on the blood sugar, there are certain measures by which you can do, and these are glycemic index and glycemic load. You might have even advised to take help of these numbers to plan your diet. But what are these numbers? What exactly do they mean? Let's see in this video. Glycemic index is a numeric score which is assigned on a number scale of 0 to 100, where 100 being pure glucose, which is marked the highest. This score will help you to tell how drastically your blood sugar level might rise after eating particular food. So the lower the glycemic index, lower will be the rise in blood sugar. Usually processed foods have more amount of glycemic index as compared to the foods which contain high amount of fiber. For example, whole grains. So whole grains will have lower glycemic index as compared to the processed foods. Glycemic index is only going to tell you the part of the story. If you want to understand how food is going to actually produce an effect on the blood sugar, you need to know two things. Number one is how the glucose is going to quickly enter into your bloodstream, and number two, what amount of glucose is going to get delivered per serving. Here where the glycemic load comes into the picture, because it satisfies both the purposes, and also it will give you a clarity on the real life impact of the carbohydrate on your blood sugar levels. Here I am going to give you one example. Example is of watermelon. Watermelon has high glycemic index, almost up to 80, but when a diabetic patient eats watermelon, the glycemic load goes down because of the servings which are given to the person. The glycemic load is almost up to only 5, which is very little. So even though the glycemic index is quite high, it doesn't matter because the glycemic load is very low because of the less amount of servings given to the diabetic patient. So a diabetic patient can have watermelon, but only the fact should be kept in mind is of the frequency. Even though the glycemic load is less, the frequency should be kept low so that there is no much of impact on your blood sugar levels. So for a diabetic patient, it is better to keep a check on both the glycemic index as well as the glycemic load, and nevertheless you shouldn't forget to keep a check on the overall carbohydrate content of the food that you are going to eat, because it is going to be a good predictor for measuring your carbohydrate intake and how it can affect your blood sugar levels. So the bottom line is, it is better to opt for foods with low glycemic index because it won't rise your blood sugar, and even if your servings gets increased or the frequency of eating of that particular food gets increased, it won't affect your blood sugar levels. So it is better to opt for food with low glycemic index. One or twice if you have foods with high glycemic index, it is okay, because for certain foods the glycemic index, even if it is high, the glycemic load is less, like watermelon. So one or twice it is okay, but in general it is better to opt for foods with low glycemic index. So in toto we need to remember that as you are strict with your diet, especially by following certain measures which will help keep your sugar under control, it is equally important to have a good physical activity to maintain an healthy weight. So healthy weight is equally important over here for any diabetic person to control his or her obesity, especially visceral obesity. And visceral obesity, when kept under control, is going to help you benefit to maintain your blood sugar levels, and also it will help prevent any complications which can arise from diabetes. So this is all about glycemic index and glycemic load. So friends, if you find this video helpful, please like, share and subscribe Food Travel Talks. I'll keep coming up with new videos. Till then, keep watching. Stay tuned. Bye.